Yes, Patrice Rondrell, state and city leaders are working hand in hand to ensure the city of Sullivan gets all of the relief money it can. Earlier today, they walked these streets to tour all of this damage that you see all around me. And just to the left of me is something you don't see every day, an uprooted tree. Yes, Patrice Rondrell, I'm here with Vigo County Clerk Brad Newman. Hello, Brad.
Good.
Happy election night.
Thanks.
So the polls have just now closed. What kind of numbers are we seeing right now?
We're seeing about the same we saw earlier. About 3,000 people came out today. I think since the 5 o'clock hour, I think we've only done another 100 and 150.
And you were expecting a bit more than that?
Oh, yeah. I was wanting 5,000 or 6,000 a day.
Now, just like 15 minutes ago, you had told me these were some of the lowest numbers you've seen during your time as clerk. Now, what does that tell you?
I think people are pretty content with the way things are going.
Patrice Rondrell, it was a pretty smooth night for the clerk's office. According to Vigo County Clerk Brad Newman, the votes were counted in record time. Now, I followed the mayoral race where two Democratic candidates vied for a spot to face incumbent Mayor Duke Bennett this fall. One of them is celebrating his victory right behind me. Crews are now on day 3 of cleanup from this brush fire that happened early Saturday morning. Now, as you can see behind me, they got the water going, and they also just got an excavator here. Now, that excavator is turning some debris to get rid of that smoke that is still rising. The Vigo County Clerk's Office wants to see this, a nearly $2 raise for its full-time clerks. Now, that's because it's losing its staff members left and right due to better pay in other departments. Yes, Patrice Rondrell, I'm here live outside of West Vigo High School's football field. It's where the report states most of the racial harassment took place. Now, I want to walk you through some of the things I found out today. Tallman says even with this tragedy, he'll still return to Mardi Gras in the future. And Rondrell, I was on St. Charles Street the day before this tragedy occurred. It's just such a sad and scary situation. Reporting live in the newsroom, Kit Hanley, News 10. Patrice Rondrell, I'm here on 3rd Street, and I can tell you the roads are just fine right now. You can see cars easily driving by, and I did just see a snowplow as well. But that's all about to change. Both NDOT and the storm team are warning that in just under an hour's time, the weather could take a turn for the worse. I'm here in a rural area with a number of houses nearby. Now, since this afternoon, News 10 has seen dozens of officers coming in and out of this property here behind me, and the one just slightly behind that. Now, the two properties are both surrounded by this electric fencing you see, and a few other items I can point out on the scene right now is there is a truck full of supplies. I'm here at the Clay County Courthouse where protesters tell me they're marching for freedom. Both men and women are voicing their concerns over the overturn of Roe v. Wade. Take a listen. Well, this tree means a lot to the folks in this area. It stood tall here in the middle of this road for hundreds of years, but recently it's starting to show its age. I actually have a piece of one of the branches that fell here this past weekend, and if you can see here, the wood is starting to rot. Tonight on News 10 Night Watch, tornado devastation and recovery. This is the scene from Sullivan, Indiana, where people have lost their homes and some have lost their lives. And in Crawford County, Illinois, more mangled metal, buildings obliterated, and families mourning the loss of their loved ones. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Kit Hanley. The Wabash Valley has been rocked by a Friday night storm, leaving death and destruction in its wake. Now we're seeing people come together in the community's hardest hit. At least 6 people are dead, and hundreds of homes and buildings are gone. News 10 has been providing you team coverage since before the storm arrived Friday, and that coverage continues now. Storm Team 10's Brady Harp and Everett Lau tracked several severe storms, including one the National Weather Service now confirms produced a tornado. They lead our coverage tonight. News 10's Jevin McCoskey and Caleb Bryant have been on the ground in Sullivan County, Indiana, and I traveled to Crawford County, Illinois, where the damage is being described as catastrophic. We're going to take you to those communities in just a moment, but first, we hear from the storm team. Everett and Brady tracked this storm through the Wabash Valley last night. They have more on what we've learned about a now confirmed tornado. Now to more from the ground in Crawford and Sullivan counties. We begin with developing news from Crawford County. That is where another 3 people are confirmed dead from last night's storm. The Crawford County coroner has released their names. They are 69-year-old Rebecca Sue Bradbury, 39-year-old Donovan Douglas, and 50-year-old Sue Cronick. The Crawford County Board Chairman says 8 others were injured in the storm. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has declared a state of emergency. This means the county will be able to access more resources during recovery efforts. Governor Pritzker is expected to be in town tomorrow at 2 p.m. local time. A curfew is also in place now until 7 tomorrow morning. This is for impacted areas and will be in place until further notice. I was in Crawford County with Blake Dollier this evening. We drove around with the sheriff. Here's what we saw. From the airport to the homes, Crawford County residents are left picking up the pieces after a tornado tore through the area late Friday night.
It's devastating. I've been in this community for 32 years now, and it's hard to know somebody and then see them go through these troubles.
Planes turned inside out, the airport flattened to the ground, and just down the road, this incomplete home where I'm told a woman sat by her steps all night taking cover. I rode along with Sheriff Bill Rutan to survey the most damaged areas. Here's the scene at the Lincoln Trail College South Campus. It's the telecoms building where students learn how to repair power poles. Meanwhile, fallen poles surround what once was a learning environment. And this was a 2-story farmhouse. Sheriff Rutan tells me rescue crews had to dig the family out of the basement. Now they're all safe, but sustained minor injuries. Sheriff Rutan urges folks not to drive through impacted areas like this due to these power lines that litter the streets.
It's unfortunate it happened, but as a community as ours is, it just shows how well everybody works together and is there to support each other.
The National Weather Service says the tornado that touched down in Crawford County crossed the state line into Sullivan County Friday night. We have new information about the death and destruction it brought to that community. 3 people died in Sullivan County. Their names have not yet been released. The National Weather Service says 2 of those deaths were near Miram and 1 south of Sullivan. All 3 people were in modular homes. According to Sullivan County Community Hospital, it treated 16 people in its emergency room. 2 people were admitted and another flown to an Indianapolis hospital. A curfew is also in place here until 7 tomorrow morning. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb arrived in Sullivan this afternoon to tour the damage. Governor Holcomb has signed an executive order declaring a disaster emergency in Sullivan. He says he will remain in contact with local and state officials as damage assessments come in. Sullivan Mayor Clint Lamb says about 200 buildings were damaged beyond repair across the county, with a majority of those within city limits. News 10's Jeff McCoskey toured the damage with the mayor, and he has more on what they found today. I'm feeling lucky.
I didn't even know there was a contest happening today. That's how out of the loop I am.
But, Marty, if you did watch, you might have guessed correct. And today, I know I did. I know every single time I've been one off.
I hope you
Okay,
was.
so how many turkeys did you count?
6.
6? Well, that was a popular number. In the control room, Noah guessed 6, Hannah guessed 6,
so hope
Megan
it's
6,
7 or
Evan
5.
6, Nathan 6. Very popular number. And I can say, maybe we need a drum roll.
Oh, please be wrong.
Kit's finally on the board.
Oh, dang it.
Finally got one right.
Man.
It took her an entire year.
Well, over a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh
we
my
started
gosh,
last
over
Halloween.
a
And
year.
we've been now.
Wow.
So
Perseverance, determination, that's the message of
now
the
I think
night.
the message of tonight is I need to hide the turkeys more difficultly next year.
Give me a drum roll, boys. Okay, yeah, I love that. Today is National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. So, we have to do a food question of the day.
Yeah.
You guys, do you put your peanut butter on first or your jelly?
Oh, peanut butter first.
Peanut butter first.
Yeah.
I hope you don't put your jelly on.
Do you put on the same piece of bread or separate pieces of bread?
Well, you're asking questions that I'm very concerned to hear your answers
I just
to.
want to know how you craft your sandwich.
It's 2 different slices of bread, clearly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Put it together.
You put it on the same slice of bread?
Yeah, because I like, less carbs. Come on, slice of bread.
Okay, what about crunchy or creamy peanut
Crunchy,
butter?
always crunchy, always crunchy. Come on. What do you say?
Creamy.
Thank you,
Really,
Everett.
really.
Yeah.
Wait,
Voice of reason.
but honey, do you put honey too? A little bit of honey?
It's peanut butter and jelly.
But if you
not
get the
peanut butter, jelly, and honey.
If you get the peanut butter that already has honey in it, then you're not cheating.
That's just kind of weird, but all right.
Wow.
All right, Kit's out on her own on this one.
Took a turn.
So let's talk about the forecast.
I'm back once again here at the tree in the middle of the road. Now, as you can see, it looks a little different. A few of its limbs have fallen off. But one local woodworker is turning those limbs into items like this. to keep history alive. From Greencastle Road to the sawmill to Blaine Berry's backyard.
World War I, 1914.
The fallen limbs from the tree in the middle of the road are getting a second chance at life.
Some of these things hopefully will still be around for a couple hundred years. The tree and me will both be gone, but these things will still be here, and there'll be people saying, "Who's Blaine Berry?"
Well, this is Blaine Berry, the wood whisperer with a will and a workbench. 84-year-old Berry is a retired arborist and a current woodworker. He plans on turning the wood from the limbs into all sorts of items with the help of his 14-year-old neighbor and apprentice, Luke.
Some wooden bowls, some wooden spoons, some ladles. I'm going to make a calendar of events. Eventually, I hope to make a couple benches. Let me show you what we can do with a piece of wood from the tree in the road. The finished product.
But the art isn't for sale. It's for display. The Swope Art Museum in Terre Haute will soon hold an exhibit for the array of historical pieces.
You notice the imperfection in the bottom, but that adds to it. It's just rewarding. Not a good day to me unless I can see what these hands have done.
Berry tells me he and the tree still have long lives to live. And just like in life, a tree's flaws are what makes it beautiful.
Each one of them has a little imperfection, but it just adds character and patina.
And you can find items like this beautiful acorn bowl at the Swope Art Museum this fall. Reporting in Vigo County, Kit Hanley, News 10. Patrice, I sat down with DeAndre Lowe, his mother Crystal, and his aunt Christina. DeAndre is one of 3 students who transferred from West Vigo High School within the past year. He says he left because of racial harassment. Now, I want to warn you, some of the language in this story may be offensive.
Coon, jigaboo, slave, cotton picker, like burnt pancake.
These are a few of the names former West Vigo senior DeAndre Lowe says he endured during his time as a Viking. Lowe recalls the bullying worsening during his junior year football season. His cousin Deshaun Lowe transferred to South Vigo last year, but Lowe stuck it out for another year. He didn't want to believe his teammates were trying to hurt him.
Basically almost held down and like hit with a leather belt by 2 of the football players.
Until they were going to whip him like a slave.
Yeah.
Lowe attributes the harassment to 7 players in particular. He recalls monkey noises shouted at him, bananas thrown at him, and being told to sit in the back of the bus. A video posted to social media shows a football player joking about a racial slur.
I smell an N. I smell an I.
So you stood up in front of the team and said how it made you feel when
Yeah.
they talked to you like that. So they knew that you were not okay with that.
Yeah.
And they proceeded to do it.
Yeah.
He tells me West Vigo coaches and school officials were made aware of this treatment, but he says no consequences followed. I asked Lowe why he decided to come forward now.
Like I don't want like black kids at West Vigo to deal with the same stuff that I had to go through.
An outside agency is still in the process of collecting findings from this harassment investigation. But it doesn't change what the family has gone through.
Mothers, it's heartbreaking. We trusted the community, we trusted all the teachers, and they let us down.
The family tells me they just want accountability. They want change. I reached out to the Vigo County School Corporation for a statement in response to DeAndre's allegations. It read, quote, "Our team is waiting to receive the final report from the investigation. It is our intention to act upon its findings once received and reviewed." Patrice, back to you. Exciting story. One local balloon and party store in Vincennes, Indiana, helped bring a board game to life with the magic of balloons. Take a trip back to your childhood days with these images of the first ever big balloon build in the United States.
Come to the Big Balloon Fest!
And that they did. Folks of all ages from all over the state wrapped around the Highland Community Church in Knox County to witness history. You're taking a look at the first ever big balloon build in the United States.
It's pretty amazing for Vincennes, Indiana. Yeah.
65 balloon artists from around the world helped recreate Hasbro's Candyland with the magic of 125,000 balloons.
That's what we're actually inside the ball game.
An out-of-body experience that Big Balloon Build creator Stuart Davies says was made possible thanks to the Vincennes community.
I think if you give a balloon to a child, you just a single balloon and see the smile on their face. My point of view is, imagine what 125,000 balloons can do.
And those 125,000 balloons can do a lot of good, like helping to feed local families. The cost of admission was a bag full of canned goods, and it doesn't stop there. On Friday evening, there was a gala and dinner event which brought in approximately $65,000 to the United Way in Knox County. All of the food served came from locally owned restaurants. The manager with Valley Party Supplies, the host of Saturday's big event, says the impact of this event is being felt both locally and nationally.
This model is already being developed in other states.
Not only is Vincennes the first city in Indiana, but now it's the first to host a Big Balloon Build.